Great Northern Peninsula, NL. You may not have noticed it yet, but RCMP services on the Great Northern Peninsula have changed, and local councils have major concerns. RCMP NL have confirmed to the Northern Pen that it will be hubbing police officers who are on call after hours. This means that neighbouring detachments will respond to calls for service at their own detachment and the neighbouring detachment on an alternating basis. The stations in St. Anthony and Roddickton-Bide Arm will hub together as neighbouring detachments, as will Port Saunders and Flowers Cove. In other words, at any given time, during after hours, there will only be one detachment on call for both St. Anthony and Roddickton-Bide Arm and the surrounding communities. There will also only be one on-call detachment for Flowers Cove and Port Saunders and surrounding communities. The policy came into effect for Port Saunders, Flowers Cove on May 9 and for St. Anthony, Roddickton-Bide Arm on May 14. Local municipal leaders believe there will be repercussions with this arrangement. The Northern Pen spoke to the mayors of St. Anthony, Roddickton-Bide Arm, Mainbrook, Conch, St. Lenaire, Croquette and Flowers Cove. They agreed this would mean substantially increased response times to any emergency calls. The St. Anthony and Roddickton-Bide Arm detachments are 126 kilometers apart, while the Port Saunders and Flowers Cove detachments are 99 kilometers apart. Some towns will be over 140 kilometers away from the nearest on-call police detachment. I question whether or not they're going to be able to provide the coverage, said St. Anthony Mayor Desmond MacDonald. I don't think they can. I think those making the decisions understand the vastness of the area the RCMP has to cover. We won't have no surveillance when they're doing their job up north in St. Anthony, and when they're down here, St. Anthony and that region won't have any protection, said Mainbrook Mayor Barb Jenge. I think that's awful. For what? To cut back on a few dollars and then all our lives are in jeopardy. To me, this is the worst of the worst. Furthermore, they wonder what will happen if RCMP officers are already responding to a call and get another emergency call from another community over 100 kilometers away. What happens if you got two officers in Roddickton, they get a call in Angley and then something serious happens in Lonso Meadows? How do they get there? Asked MacDonald. It's going to take a couple hours. What if it's a serious situation? Another concern is the possibility of increased crime with less police presence in the communities. National Police Federation concerns. The issue has also been brought to the attention of the National Police Federation, an organization seeking to become the sole certified bargaining agent for members of the RCMP. According to Brian Save, the managing co-chair and a member of the RCMP, its membership is approximately 11,000 and includes officers on the Great Northern Peninsula. Save, who lives in Vancouver, says he has received phone calls from RCMP officers expressing concerns about this new arrangement and how this change to hubbing is going to result in risks to public safety and as well as risks to police officers, and it's all done in the name of saving a few bucks, said Save. According to Save, hubbing isn't unfamiliar across Canada. But, he says, usually it is done when there is a lack of manpower. This is not the case with the 4 Great Northern Peninsula detachments. There are currently 4 officers stationed in St. Anthony, 3 in Roddickton-Bide Arm, 3 in Flowers Cove and 5 in Port Saunders. All are fully staffed. Save says, as a member of the public, to him the increased response times created would be unacceptable. Says it puts staff at a greater risk. Officers will have to drive faster to reach their destinations, all with the possibility of bad weather, especially during the winter, and striking wildlife such as moose and caribou. If that means going 115 kilometers per hour in bad weather, at night, with the risk of wildlife strikes, your chances as a police officer of putting yourself in danger and not arriving, are greater, he said. This was also a concern for mayors. Somebody has to step back and ask what public safety is worth in this community, and are we willing to spend that money, added Savi. Andrew Parsons, Minister of Justice and Public Safety, told the Northern Pen he's been assured by the RCMP there won't be a reduction in service. We still have the same number of officers, working the same number of hours, he said. This is more about after hours. Police officers who are on call after hours, they'll start using neighbouring detachments to respond to call for service after hours. According to Parsons, RCMP Assistant Commissioner Peter Clark is hoping to have some presence at the Great Northern Peninsula's Joint Council meeting, scheduled for May 26. He says this would be to provide more context and information to municipal leaders. RCMP clarification. In a statement to the Northern Pen, the RCMP stressed that the changes will not impact regular shifts at either of the departments. The hubbing will just be for after-hours calls. It added that call volumes are low on the Great Northern Peninsula during these hours. Therefore, the likelihood of a police response to a neighbouring detachment will also be low. Officers, it was stated, will respond with backup already available if needed and will be able to plan their approach to the situation while en route. If there is particularly poor weather conditions anticipated, the detachments will have contingency plans to manage a local response, the statement added. According to the RCMP, the decision to hub the detachments was evidence-based. It said that costs for on-call overtime exceeded the available budget. This informed their decision to hub the departments, as well as other considerations. But one cannot look at budget in isolation. There were other important decision-making considerations, primarily concerns around work-life balance, the ability of our police officers to avail of vacation time, their ability to be away from their home detachment areas when not on regular duty, etc. Read the statement. The health and well-being of our officers is paramount. This approach to ensure effective police services for the Northern Peninsula, balanced with the well-being of our police officers and our resources to deliver services, will be evaluated over time. Stephen Roberts at northernpen.ca